Hello students, in this lesson you'll study about the track cross section, the terms which are involved in the cross section of a track and what is the importance of each term you'll be seeing in this particular lesson. These are the important terms related to your railway cross section. The first one is your permanent line, the second one is your formation, or also it is called as your subgrade, then is your formation width, then the side slope and the side drain. So individually we have to study about all these five things. Now before getting into the individual concept, I first want to show you the cross sections of single and double broad gauge railway track, both in embankment and in cutting. Embankment is what? The regions where it is on a higher scale. This is what called as what? Your embankment. And in the lower scale, in valleys or dips, if you say, that we call it as cutting. Okay. So this is the cross section of a single broad gauge in embankment. And this is what? Single broad gauge in cutting. Okay. So embankment, as I told you, is on a higher scale. Right, if you observe, you can see this. We have already dealt on how this cross section will look. Right, you'll have rails, sleeper, then your ballast, then your formation or the subgrade. So these both will have side slopes. Right. So the five things what I mentioned here, if you observe the permanent land, so this here is your permanent land. Second is your formation. Third one is your formation width. And the fourth one is your side slope what you have. So this is your fourth one, and this one is your side drain. So in detail about each and everything we'll be studying further. Okay, so if you observe here, this one is in your embankment. So different widths for the broad gauge have been mentioned here. Different widths, different side slope which we have to give is been mentioned here. Now this same thing is in the valley. In the valley, the only difference will be that the side drain will be here. See, instead of this in the right side, you will have the side drain here itself. Okay, and the dimensions, if you observe, are a little different when compared to your broad gauge track in your embankment. Right, now this is what? Single broad gauge track. Now if you see this, this is what? Your double cross section of the double broad gauge. So this you will have to remember the sketch along with the dimensions. Okay, so here also you have what? Permanent land, then your formation, then your formation width, then your side slopes, right, and then the side drains. So same thing will be there in your embankment also, right? So we'll start with the first one, that is your permanent land. Now what is this permanent land? It is nothing but the area of land which is acquired or reserved for the construction and development of railway track along its alignment. So is called as your permanent land, or it is also called as right of way. So the land which the government has taken or acquired for the construction and development of the railway track is what called as your permanent land. So where you can see the permanent land, see if you observe in this diagram here, this is your permanent land. So from this boundary stone up to this boundary stone, this entire thing is your permanent land. Okay, in actually up to here is your permanent land. This is called as a temporary land. So this, after that, it may not be used. After the construction of the railway track, this can be used for some other purpose. So from here to here is your permanent land. Now for this cross section, this permanent land width is how much? 17.1 plus 2 into d1 plus d2. What is d1 and d2? D1 and d2 are the depth of your subgrade or the formation. So d1 is the depth here and d2 is the depth here. So that depth, if you add, that much of the land should be there present for your permanent land. Understood? Now, so the area lying under or outside the right of way, which is temporarily acquired, as I told, this temporarily they will acquire only for some days until the construction happens. Now why this they'll acquire? for construction of the embankment, whatever soil will come out, no, so to dispose it, we take the temporary land. So this land is let off as soon as the track project is completed and the payment is made to the contractor. Only until that particular time this land is acquired. This entire land, permanent land, is acquired for the full time. Okay. Then the right of way is known as land width. So this permanent land is also called as what? Your land width. So let me write here. So this is also called as land width. Along with permanent land, we read one more term. What is it? It is the temporary land which we acquire only during your construction purpose for the deposition of soil or any other material during the construction of the project. Now, this land width, as I showed you, as I mentioned you, this will depend upon what? The type of gauge you are using, the width of the formation, the depth of the embankment or cutting, the side slope, and the land reserved on either side of the embankment or cutting for the future development of the track. So for all these terms, this length of the permanent land will depend. Okay. And the important thing is this permanent land or the right of way of a track should meet the present traffic requirement. Then also it should meet the design needs which further allows for future development of the track. Okay, suppose we have to develop the track in future, there should be enough space for us to construct the track. So we have to keep that in mind and decide on the permanent land. So if sufficient land width is acquired at the time of planning and construction of a new track, then the track can be doubled and other improvements can be made as and when we desire, okay, in future. So that's all about your permanent land. Next. Okay, so before getting into, I'll write the actual definition. Now you have understood. Now you have understood the brief about everything about the permanent land. So only the definition I want to mention here: the area of land acquired and reserved for construction and development of a railway track along its alignment. This is the actual definition. Okay, moving further, the next one is what? Your formation or the subgrade. So what is the definition of the formation or the subgrade? So where you can see it, see, you observe here, this is your formation or the subgrade. Okay, the land that you have prepared for the construction of the track is called as your formation or the subgrade. So let us first write the definition. The prepared and finished surface of earthwork. So this earthwork is in embankment as well as cutting. Okay, so earthwork on which a railway track is laid is called as what? Your formation or your subgrade. So the formation or subgrade of a track may be constructed in embankment, cutting, or at the existing ground level. So we can say, suppose this is your ground level. Say this is your ground level. You can have the formation exactly to your ground level, or you can have an embankment like this, or you can have a cutting like this. So in any of the way you can do it depending upon what? The topography of the area and the formation level as indicated in the finalized longitudinal section of the proposed track. So in the longitudinal section, whatever formation level is given, in order to achieve that, whatever you need, you have to do. Suppose the formation level is exactly to the ground level, leave it as it is. Suppose it is on the top, put an embankment. Suppose it is on the uh, so top, you can put an embankment. Suppose it is on the bottom, you can go for cutting. Understood? Therefore, what will happen before laying of the track? You have to first make the formation or make the formation prepared. So what will happen for the preparation of formation? The different surveyings are to be conducted between your destination points and the route in which your railway track is supposed to be put. Okay, then your formation you have to prepare. So the steps which involve, first of all, you have to do what? A survey in the lane of the railway track, so that you get the formation level and know where to put the embankment, where to put the cutting, where to leave it onto the ground level. That you have to know, right? Once you know that, how to go about for the preparation of the formation is, you have three steps. The first one is your site clearance and grubbing. Site clearance is, if there is any obstacle, you have to remove them. What is grubbing? The removal and disposal of roots and stumps of trees from the land with acquired for the construction. So if there are any trees or roots or uh, barks of the trees, you have to remove them. That is called as your grubbing. And any other material, if you want to remove, that is called as site clearance. First you have to do this. Then once you have done that, you have to get the earthwork done. Okay, so earthwork done is, you have to, suppose you go for embankment, you have to fill in the earthwork. Suppose you're going for cutting, you have to remove the earthwork. Suppose you're going for ground level, you have to just level it and uh, keep. That is what is the step of the earthwork. Then after that, what you have to do, you have to do the compaction and consolidation. Without this, you cannot proceed further. So once you do all this, your formation or the subgrade is prepared. Okay, so after site clearing and grubbing is completed, the earthwork is done in the embankment or in cutting according to the final, whatever is the longitudinal section of the proposed track. We'll do that. So in case of earthwork of embankment, what you will do? Suppose you have embankment, what you will do? So I'll show you. Suppose you have embankment. Here, if you observe, there's a borrow pit. So what you have to do? You have to take the soil from the borrow pit and put it in the embankment. Okay, that's the reason it's called borrow pit. We are borrowing the soil from here and putting it into your formation or the subgrade. Okay, suppose it is cutting, what will happen? In cutting, what you have to do? You have to remove the soil. No, where you will put the soil, where you will dump the soil, you will dump this soil in the permanent land. Okay, that's the reason it's called as spoil bank. Okay, this is your temporary land, right? This portion is your temporary land. If it is in embankment, you will take the soil from there, and if it is in your cutting, you'll put the soil there from your cut portion. Understood? So whichever side is lower, no, if you observe in this cutting, this is on a higher side and this is on a lower side. So whichever is the lower side, there you have to put your spoil bank or the excavated earth. Then what you have to do? You have to compact and consolidate it to get the final bed. So what is the function of a subgrade or a formation? We have already dealt this in the first chapter. So it has to provide a firm bed to the track. Then it has to provide a smooth and graded surface to the track. Then an effective drainage also it has to provide. So that is all about your what? Formation or subgrade. Then moving to the next one is your formation width. Now what is formation width? If you observe in the diagram, this is your formation width of this figure. So if you observe from here to here is your formation width. See, this is nothing but the top of the formation or the subgrade, right? So the top, let me write the definition for you. So the top width of a track embankment, of a track embankment, or what you can say is bottom of, or bottom width of, we can say, cutting. Okay, if it is embankment, it is the top width, and if it is cutting, it is the bottom width. So let us see in the cutting. I'll show you in the cutting. Where is it? See here. Okay, So bottom width of the cutting. In cutting, this is your top width. From here to here, this is your top width in cutting. So this is the formation width, that is the bottom of the cutting. Be very careful in writing this. Okay, excluding the side drain. So side drain will come beside the formation width. So excluding the side drains is called as what? Your formation width. So it depends upon this formation width depends upon what all? The gauge. First thing is depends upon the gauge. Second one, the number of tracks. Suppose you're going for 1 track or 2 track or 3 track, it depends upon that. And the space between each track. Okay, space between each track if there are multiple tracks. So on these three things your formation width will depend. So according to Indian Railway Board, we have some minimum formation widths for broad gauge. Okay, so let me write it here. So what is this? Minimum formation width. I'll call the formation width as FW for what? BG. BG is nothing but your broad gauge. Right. So let us take the serial number, then your formation width, then your number of tracks. So normally it will be either single or it will be double. Okay, so if you go for the first one in embankment, the second one is in cutting. In both, side drains are not included. Okay, so this will be 6.1 meter and this will be 10.7 meters, and here it is 5.5 meters, and here it is 10.1 meters. Okay, so this is a important table about your formation width. If you observe, the same values have been written here in this diagram. See here, formation width of 6.1 in single, right? You observe here, sorry, in embankment single, in embankment and cutting single, it is 5.5. That is what we wrote it here, right? So the same thing in the diagram has been represented in this, right? So this is all about your formation width. Next, moving further is the side slope. Now the slope that you give for the earthwork of the track in embankment and cutting is nothing but your side slope. You have to give it in such a way that it should be stable. Okay, so let me write the definition. The slopes given to the sides of earthwork of a track in embankment bar cutting for what? For its stability. If you don't give slight slope, if you just make the formation like this, there are, if the track is like this and train is moving here, there are all chances that this will have a soil which will come out like this. So it is very important for you to give the side slopes for the stability of the track. Okay, so we have to design the side slope keeping in mind the earthwork is stable even in the adverse climatic condition. Not only in the current climatic condition, if there are any adverse climatic condition also, we have to make sure that the side slope is stable. Okay, normally what will happen if you go for a flatter side slope, that will make the earthwork uneconomical, and steeper side slope will result in what? Erosion or slip. Okay, so we cannot go for flat because waste of material. We cannot go for steep, as I told you, it will have erosion or moving up like this. So you have to have a stable or a correct side slope. So slide slope will depend normally upon various condition, like the nature of the soil what we have, the climatic condition, the method of drainage what we provide, and the method of protection we give against erosion and slip, also on the height of the embankment and the depth of the cutting. So on all these things your side slope will depend. So let me write one by one. So the side slope depends upon what? Nature of soil. Next, climatic conditions. Next, method of drainage which we provide. Next, height of track in both embankment and your cutting, right? So on all these things it will depend. Now what is the standard value of side slope? SS. I'll call the side slope as S. So the standard value is 2:1 if it is embankment, and 1:1 if it is cutting. If you observe, same thing has been shown in the diagram here. So it's 2:1 in the embankment, and where's it? Okay, we missed writing it here. It is, oh, here, 1:1 if it is in cutting. Okay, so that's about your side slope. These are your recommendations, standard recommendations of the side slope. Then the last one is what? The side drain. So this drain is provided on either side of the railway track, or sometimes only on one side of the railway track. So the drain provided on either sides of a railway track is called as your side drain. Normally the side drain will be of trapezoidal cross section. So what is a cross section? Trapezoidal, and with 1.8 meter top and 0.9 meter bottom. So like this. So this will be around 0.9 meter, and this width will be around 1.8 meter if it is what? Embankment. If it is cutting, if it is cutting, if it is cutting, the top width only will be changed. It becomes 1.22 in cutting. Okay, whatever I've written in the red pen is for your cutting. Okay. Now the side drain should be provided on both sides of the embankment as well as the cutting of the track to carry what? The rainwater or any water which is coming onto your railway track. So, and if the ground level has continuous slope along the cross section, the catchway drain must be provided on the upper side of the embankment. Sometimes on the upper side of the embankment we'll have to provide the side drains if it has a sloped cross section. Understood? So this is all about the terms involved in your rail cross section and what are the importance of each term. Hope you have understood this. Thank you.